just to tell you, although it's, I'm not going to go into detail. I really got off the topic, but this is an important topic. Some shuls have in front of their Torah Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Summit. So that means even when we leave the shul, we should be taking Hashem with us. So that's how the Kitzur Shulchan Aruch starts off. Kitzur Shulchan Aruch Shivisi Hashem Lenegdi Summit, and some have on the Aron Ki Mitzion Teitzei Torah Udvar Hashem Yerushalayim. It's hard to believe that it's already 54 minutes into the shir, and really I'm going to start a subject that really deserves an entire shir, but I want to start it anyway. I want to thank Nachman and Goldie Chapler. I don't know if I said it in the beginning. Did I say the dedication? I don't believe it. No. Nachman, is it all right if I say it now? Yeah, the shir is dedicated by Nachman and Goldie Chapler, Le'ili Nishmas, Goldie's mother, Leah Bas Reb Chaim, whose yahrzeit is Gimel Nisan, and Uri ben David, her father, whose yahrzeit is Tesvav Nisan. Yeah, this is very good to be makdem before I tell you this amazing word. We also want to learn, for Nachman, he should be gesund. Nachman Yaakov ben Sarah, Shavafu Shalema B'Sech Shachel Yisrael. Nachman is one of the major Talmidim of mine. Honored to have Nachman as a Talmud. Nachman learns Torah Mitoich Chak, and Nachman, it should get easier and easier. If anybody wants to sponsor next week's share, we don't have a sponsor. The next Hagada share, 718-916-3100, rmmwsi@aol.com. Nachman, I'm going to have to mention it again also, closer to Nisan. We'll do that. So the Yom Tov is known as Chag HaMatzos. The Shem Shmuel writes that matzah means also strife and contentiousness, like Meriva. We know that chametz represents the se'ir shebe'isa, that what agitates the dough. We learned it in the Mishnah Yomis today. We learned it on the daf today in Menachos, that which agitates the dough. So just like the chametz is it's agitated dough, so the Yetzer Hara agitates us to sin. It agitates us to say Einas Devarim, hurtful words. It agitates us to look at what we're not supposed to. It agitates us to speak about other people bad things. So the Chassam Sofer asks a simple question. Since we know it's a terrible sin to eat chametz on Pesach, it's chorus, and matzah could technically, if it's a little bit more than 18 minutes, it could become chametz. Wouldn't it make more sense to have matzah out of a food that can't become chametz? Let's have rice matzahs, millet matzahs, that can't leaven. Safer. So some Sefer says you're missing the point. We're not angels. Angels don't have a Yetzer Hara. Yeah, they could never go wrong. That would be a rice matzah. We use it where it could go wrong and it could go right. That's the idea. The idea is the matzah, is the battle. And the Chag HaMatzos reminds us about this perennial battle. Lo'ilam yirgaz adam yetzer tov al yetzer hara. Moiser adam in a behema. What are we more than an animal? Ayin, that we could say no. that we have a choice. But in order to have a choice, it has to be something we could only use a matzah that could become chametz. If it can't become chametz, then we don't have a choice. Then we're an angel. Hashem doesn't want us to be angels. He wants us to be angels, but He doesn't want us to be in the guise of an angel. He wants us to make that choice. And by the way, that's the meaning, Loi toive yoyse adam levada. It's not good for man to be alone. What do you mean? If I'm alone, I'll never get into a fight. It's great to be alone. If I'm alone, I'll never have anas devarim. There won't be anybody to call names to. There won't be anybody to fight with. Hashem said, I didn't put you down here to do that. I put you down to live with a woman that's different than you and learn how to behave. That's the matzah. That's kagamatzahs. That's the battle. That's the strife. And that's the success. That's why chametz is so terrible on Pesach. Because it represents succumbing to the Yetzer Hara. Again, we want to thank Nachman and Goldie Chapler. Nachman really wanted it to be in Nisan, but I told him I didn't have a sponsor. So again, we're learning for Lila Nishmas Leah Bas Reb Chaim and Uri Ben David, and Neshama should have a lichtige Gan Eden. And again, we want to remind you about dailygiving.org. Dailygiving.org. It's such a wonderful way. You know, days go by, you didn't get a chance to do tzedakah. But if you give to dailygiving.org, there's not one day that you're not giving to a premier tzedakah. If you're not part of this yet, be part of the Daf Yomi of tzedakah, Daf Yomi of chesed, dailygiving.org. Thank you for joining us. Have a good night and a good Shabbos.